we're back for season 2. Yo,
Woo-hoo!
yo. So fall is here. I don't care if it's still September. Fall is here. We're ready. We are ready for fall. We're ready for a new season. In today's episode, we have a special guest. Her name is Natalie, and we'll put her handle in the captions for you guys to follow. But as you all know, I have an autistic son. So Kathy actually knows Natalie. It's Kathy explains it in the episode, like how they know.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties into like past episodes when we talked about like postpartum depression and going to the doctor's office. So you're going to hear that. But Natalie has a child on the spectrum, and we thought it would be great for her to come onto our podcast and talk about her journey, talk about her daughter's journey being on the spectrum and everything. So we hope you guys love it. It's a little long, but bear with us. It's very great. Very much girlfriend, chatty, catching up.
Yeah, we connected with Natalie through Instagram, and I'm so glad that she was on board with coming onto the podcast, and we can't wait to share her story with you guys. So without further ado,
here's Natalie.
Start the episode.
Hello.
Okay, hi. It's so really good to see you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good.
How
are your kids?
Good.
They're good.
My daughter's like poking in right now because I'm using her room, and I was like, no, you can't come in until I tell you. She's like, okay.
So real quick, I told Amaris a story, and I don't know if you know this, Natalie, because I don't know how if you've been like listening to our podcast, but so I went through postpartum depression with my son, Grayson, and when I went in for my follow-up appointment, I don't know if you remember, because Natalie worked at, so for the listeners that are watching or listening, Natalie worked at my high-risk doctor's office when I was
a medical assistant.
Yeah, so she was there through like my whole pregnancy. So when I went for my follow-up appointment, I remember you asking me like, are you okay? Like, are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, why is she asking me? Like,
no, that is so important to me because I went through it and I felt like nobody really was asking me, are you okay?
But yeah, and here's the thing. I didn't go into that appointment thinking like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna tell them how I feel, like, but because you kept asking me, I feel like if it weren't for you, Nurse Nicole would have never pulled me aside and been like, you're not okay. I was like, what do you mean? Like, did Natalie say something to me? And she was like, I know you're not okay. You've been coming to this office for like every week, every 2 weeks.
You could definitely tell like the change in the person right away.
It's crazy. So like literally if it weren't for you, like I would have never gotten the help that I needed at the time.
I want to cry.
It's true.
So
it's
sweet.
it's crazy.
So serious now. Like I just had like 2 of my cousins have babies, and that's the first thing I said. I'm like, the second you don't feel okay, it doesn't have to be to me. Just find someone who you can vent to.
It's crazy because like when you're a first time mom, you're so clueless. You're like, what? Like, what is this? Like, what's going on?
I did everything wrong. And then I had my mom and my mother-in-law trying to give advice, but they did it like so wrong. They were like just on top of me.
My mom too. Or like my mom would always say things like, oh, you know, you just got to be grateful that you have your son. I'm like, but
all the time. Like, God forbid you ask like to go for a walk. You know, this is what you wanted, remember? So you got to stay here now. And they don't understand how important just even that little bit of fresh air. You're like a brand new person.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right.
Like I had really bad postpartum.
Did you? How long did it last for you?
Mine, I honestly think it was like 3 to 4 months. And I didn't expect it at all. Like when I remember my friend bringing it up to me too, she was one of the first people because she had her daughter like a month before I did. And I was like, that's just so weird. Why aren't you happy? Like you just had a baby. Like that's weird. And mine hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, again, it was my mother-in-law and my mom. Unfortunately, they came to my house. You know how babies, the newborns, they're like all red and like pink on their butt?
Yeah.
They told me I gave my daughter the worst rash. And that just sent me spiraling. And from there, that's when, oh my God, thank you. And that's what caused it, honestly. And then I was like, you know what, guys? Your advice is going to come like as needed. Like, just do it very slowly, like carefully.
What about you, Amaris? How long did yours last? I don't remember.
I don't remember when it came and I don't remember when it left. It was just one of those things that I just felt like I was doing everything wrong.
Same.
No matter what I did, I just felt like I was doing the wrong thing. And then going back to work and then COVID hit. It was just like,
that's right.
I just suck as a mom.
I thought my baby hated me for a period of time.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Same.
it's me.
Yeah.
Every time she would go with my husband, she was perfectly fine. I'm like, what's happening?
Right, like what's wrong with me? Why can't I do this right?
Mine literally lasted a whole year, you guys. A whole year. Because they started as depression, but then it became anxiety and like intrusive thoughts.
And I didn't even know you can actually get it before you even have the baby.
Yeah.
We had a patient like that, and then Nicole had said, she was like, yeah, she's already going through postpartum. I was like, wait, what?
Oh,
I was thinking she hasn't even had the baby yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
Oh man.
I think like for sure people should check up on like moms more about that, like especially when it comes to mental health. Like that whole first year should be check up.
Yeah. It's
I agree.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyways, on a lighter note.
That was very sweet. Thank you so much.
We're so excited to have you on. Seriously.
I'm so excited.
Mm-hmm.
So Amaris has been very open about like her story on the podcast.
Yes, I know you have your child on the spectrum too.
Yeah, so she has a child on the spectrum, my little cousin Danny boy. But we have a series called in
my son's world.
Mm-hmm.
So, where I just talk about my son, his updates with like autism.
Really I like
so when you had reached out to Kathy, I'm like, let's bring her on the podcast to get another perspective of your journey with a child on the spectrum, because our journeys are different but similar. Like we understand each other, we just get it. There's no over explaining. It's just, I have to do this, and it's just like, yep,
exactly.
Same.
And that's exactly what I like tell everybody. I'm like, I know everybody tries to be there for you, especially like my mom, you have your family, but I was like, no one's going to get it like somebody that knows what you're going through.
Exactly.
So thankfully, I actually rekindled like a friendship with somebody from high school. She has a kid on the spectrum, and like we become so close again.
That's amazing.
And I'm so thankful for her because she gets it.
Right.
It could be really lonely.
The schedule's not going to be, on point. She gets when your kid's having a meltdown, all that. So super thankful for that.
Yeah.
It could be hard, like especially as a first-time parent to a special needs child, like navigating all that for the first time. Like that is
especially
very
when you don't
challenging.
even know like what's what still.
Right.
And you're trying to figure it out and you're like, wait, I don't know what they need because no one's telling me what exactly this is, like what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. And
I felt like that's what happened with me because my daughter just got diagnosed this year. And
she
she's
just
6 years
got
old.
diagnosed?
Yes, this year.
Wow.
Okay.
Like we already knew, the doctor had told us, they had somewhat of an idea. I worked at both these pediatricians.
That
they had an idea was autism. But they gave me a hard time for a long time because every time I would do like the survey, no, I think it's just delay. No, like it was like pushing it to the side. She's just delayed.
Long?
For a very long time, and I was like, no, and you can't get like services or therapy without a diagnosis. It's very very hard to get that for them. So I was like, I don't understand. I don't know, maybe they were doing it because they knew me and I worked there and they felt bad to tell me, but like at the end of the day it was doing more harm than anything.
Right. How old is your daughter?
She'll be 7 now in November.
7?
Wow.
7 years old. But girls, I found out this happens to a lot of girls on the spectrum. They get diagnosed very late.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because they're going through a criteria of just a male boy, like a white male.
Okay.
So there's no criteria for girls right now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And it presents very differently in a girl and a boy.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I had a quick question. So I know with Amaris, she had, speculations that her son might be on the spectrum, like before he turned 2. Like she just had like a feeling. When did you start having like that feeling, or like when did you start thinking like, I might have, my child might be autistic,
like something's wrong?
Something's wrong. Like
I would say like 6 months, like when already she was supposed to be meeting certain milestones. Like when she was like supposed to crawl, she crawled backwards. Getting her attention was very hard too sometimes, and she was passing all her hearing tests.
Really?
So little things like that already, I was starting to pick up. I was like, you know what, this isn't right. That's not right. She wasn't like making the like sound she should have been making for like speech.
And you would mention those things to the pediatrician?
I would, yeah, because in all the doctors I worked with, they would do these surveys, and it's to see if the child's like meeting their development and their milestones. And they would legitimately tell me like, "Nat, no, you're just putting that because like you think it's that, but it's not." I'm like, I'm her mom. Like I spend all day with her. I know what I'm seeing.
Oh,
wow.
So it was extremely frustrating.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I'm sorry. It's almost like they were gaslighting
I'm so thankful
you.
to her teacher. If it wasn't for her kindergarten teacher, like
Really?
who knows where we would be. She made sure she did everything. She noticed right away that Sienna might have had like that she was autistic. She brought it up to me. She kept in communication with me. She got all her appointments like ASAP for her, all her therapy in school for her.
So she advocated for her.
Yeah, she was the one that advocated everything for me. And unfortunately, she left the school. But I still keep in contact with her. She actually asked for Sienna right away.
Aww. I love that.
Yeah,
and honestly, teachers are amazing.
They are.
I was like, you need people like that. Like, especially on like your journey, like you need that one person, like, thank you. Thank you for helping me.
Yeah.
Right. Because you feel seen, you feel validated.
Yeah,
and like
especially
when
after that experience of people not paying attention to me, I was like, see, finally, like somebody
like,
saw what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then especially being Hispanic, you know, parents like don't really like agree with that. My mom was just
they're
like
in denial. Or...
Yes, my mom did not want me saying that. She was she's still very religious, but she was like more into the religion at that moment when this was like all happening. And she was like, no, I rebuke that. I was like, no, mom, it's like, we can't do that. We just got to get on board and like figure it out. But I was dealing with a lot of that too. And like, even like her sisters, I had to explain to them because they would be like, oh, it's Down syndrome. Oh, so she's mentally retarded. I'm like, no, like, let me explain it to you like this. But I know they're not saying it in a mean way. Like,
no, they're just not educated.
Yeah, that's exactly what it stems from.
Yeah,
for sure. How old is your son?
He's 5 now.
He's 5? When did he get diagnosed?
So he officially got diagnosed at 2.5 years old because I kept pushing it. I wasn't waiting for nobody. His regular pediatrician was like, well, since he was born premature, you want to wait until he's 2 years old to catch up. So on his 2-year checkup, I was like, still the same. What's next? She said early intervention. So I had early intervention. I was like, listen, I know my son is autistic. What are my steps? And they were like, well, we can't diagnose him. You're going to have to go to a developmental pediatrician. So they gave me a list. And I called everyone on that list who accepted my insurance, who was like a driving distance. And I got an appointment within a month. And then in 6 months, I got his official medical diagnosis. Like for me, it happened quick. And I know that's not heard of. Like people wait years to get
exactly. But then when I got mine, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. When I got my ball rolling, that happened to me too. Like the lady, the neurologist, the doctor, she did everything that day for us. And she gave us the diagnosis before we left.
That's amazing.
Oh, she gave you before you left?
Right before we left, she told us everything.
Oh, wow. I had to wait a month.
She gave me pamphlets. She like even told me like what books to get on Amazon. She was like amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have heard
it was actually a neurologist from the school. That was again the teacher set that up for us on a Saturday.
Okay.
We were the only ones that went there.
Wow.
I was like, wow. But that's like so amazing too. Look, your son being diagnosed so young. My friend who I was just talking about, her son is 3 years old, and look, he was diagnosed too. So I guess it is true then, like boys do get diagnosed like at an early age.
Faster.
Yeah.
That's so
he just has autism. They didn't say anything else.
So his medical diagnosis is autism spectrum disorder, level 2 speech impairment, and level 1 of repetitive and repetition behavior. That's his diagnosis.
Yeah, because it always comes with something. I was just telling the neurologist that too. I was like, so it's not just autism. She's like, no, unfortunately not.
What is
sensory?
My daughter has autism, ADHD, global delay, and anxiety disorder.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
And she's saying that which is super weird, the ADHD presents more than the autism. So I was like, oh, that's interesting because it like correlates with the autism. So that's like weird that it would like present more. But it makes sense because she's literally stimming all day long, like running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like my son. He's like nonstop. We call him like the Energizer Bunny. And you would think he's tired and he's just like takes a
You
quick
can't
break.
tire him out.
You can't tire them out. I'm just like, let's go read a book. Come
But
on.
then it's so funny because she like fights, like she doesn't want to go to bed, but then we put her in her room and she's out in 5 minutes. I'm like,
that's
so
good.
I'm like, are you really not tired? So she's really good about like following the rules. So that's another thing with autistic kids. Like they like you know, their routine and rules.
And
so
structure,
she's like makes up these rules, and that's like one of her things. So she'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go to my room. Like she knows she has to go to bed at a certain time.
That's
especially
for
good.
school.
That's good. No, my son
she's
takes
at least really good with that, with listening and everything. I got lucky with that.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Now, when you got the diagnosis, like what were some of your feelings? Like how did you feel? Like was it a feeling of like, oh yes, like I'm finally feel validated, or like did you feel sad? Like what kind of emotions were running through your mind?
I did feel 100% validated because I was like, finally, like, look, I'm gonna have it on paper. Like everything I was saying is confirmed. I wasn't sad. I know a lot of parents are sad because they're like, oh my God, now my kid's gonna go through this. Maybe because I already knew for such a long time.
Right. I was gonna say
I was kind of like prepared, I guess you would say. It was like a long time coming. So I honestly felt at peace. Like even my husband was like, you keep smiling. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not like I'm like thrilled. It's just I'm at peace. Like we have answers
finally
now.
you have answers.
Yeah, like now I know how to navigate. Now I know what she needs, what therapy she needs. Versus like I was doing therapy for her like by myself for the past 6 years, never having training in this, just like doing what I thought what she needed. So I was like, now I know exactly what she needs and what I need to like, you know, really like target with her.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. I felt like so happy. Like honestly, I felt like a weight was lifted off of my shoulder.
Right, because it's like that's how I felt. I felt like I didn't cry, and I remember the neurologist that was like talking to me. She's like, you know, sometimes it's a lot of process. I'm like, like I have a child study team meeting next week, and I'm gonna scan this paper off to them right away. She was like, oh. Yes,
that's exactly how I was.
Like it wasn't a surprise for you.
No, because I knew. No, now it's just time to advocate. Let's get the ball rolling. Like, make sure she has everything for school. And even this year now too, she's supposed to have an aide. I made sure I like got in contact with the teacher on Friday. I was like, hey, look, I was waiting for things to calm down. I know it's the first week of school, but like, does she have her aide in place? Is this in place? All the therapies like good to go? And you know what the teacher told me? She had no idea of any of this. That she has yet to receive Sienna's file. What? And she was like, thank you so much for telling me. She's like, I knew something was off, but I didn't know it was like, you know, autism for sure. She's like, because I hadn't gotten the file yet. She's like, but call on Monday. So I'm going to let them know, like, you know, what's going on. Like, why did she know that? Yeah. And I got to tell her at least a little thing. Like, there's small things about Sienna. Like, she laughs, like, when it's inappropriate things. And some kids, like, take it personal. And they've pinched her before. Or they'll, like, say, hey, don't do that. So I told her that. And she was like, oh, you see, that's a good fact to know about her. Just in case. I was like, I was like, anything you need. Like, I want to always be on the same page with you. I had that relationship with her previous teacher. And I want to continue that.
What kind of classroom setting is she in?
So after her whole evaluation last year, they're allowing her into general population. So she'll stay with the class. She doesn't need, she's still considered special education though.
Right.
But she'll have her own aide with her, like just specifically for her the whole time. Because like she's so good at doing her work and everything, but she needs like that little bit of encouragement. Like she second guesses herself a lot. I don't know if your son does that. Do you feel like he like lacks confidence?
He's in self-contained classroom. So I don't know. I think his confidence is like great. He jumps on the couch. I mean, his confidence when it comes to his behavior is great. His education, he likes to be silly. Like if he knows, you know, it's 7, he'll be like 8, and we're just like, no, like, you know the answer. Right. Like he just like looks at you. He's like 6. Oh no, that's not right. It's 7. We're just like, you're so silly.
My daughter does like a whole Broadway production, like with like the things we're doing. Even like the woman that was evaluating her, she's like, this is so much fun. I'm like, yeah, she's a character.
I love
but
that.
But she knows it, but she'll be like, did I make your heart happy? Is that okay? And I'm like, you know what you're doing. It's okay.
That's so cute.
But she's so the global delay is actually that like you see how that sounded like a baby? So she's gonna be 7 years old, but she has the mentality of a 4-year-old.
Okay.
Oh,
So even when she talks, it kind of still sounds like a baby.
Okay.
For a long time, I thought it was the tongue tie. I was like, there has to be something that's causing it, but it's that.
It's that.
Like she even like can't control her drool completely. Like I constantly have to tell her swallow, swallow, because it'll be coming out of here, or you'll hear her talk and she's like mumbling because she's like has all that drool in her mouth.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to ask you because my son has done outpatient therapies. Is your daughter in any outpatient therapies?
So I'm actually her therapist. So I went from medical assistant to doing ABA. So like when I found out that she was autistic, I dove in. Like I went like I ended up loving it. I was like, well, this is such a beautiful like thing. Like these kids are so beautiful. They have such beautiful souls. I'm like, I want to help everyone. They deserve all the good in the world. Right. And when I saw that I did that with my daughter with no training, I was like, if I can do that with no training, why not do it like as a career?
To help
so
other
I'm actually
children.
now 2 months in to doing this, but I've been doing it for Sienna for the past 6 years. She's never had any therapy. We did speech for a little bit, but it was during COVID, and her issue was enunciation. So I was like, how are we going to do enunciation with a mask on? Like, it's not going to make sense. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to learn like that. So I was like, I'll do it at home where she can actually see my face. So we came home and I was like, what am I going to do? I went to Target. I got like flashcards, anything I can get like my hands on, toys that would help her. And I started narrating the day to her. Like it was every little thing. I was like, okay, so we're going to open the door. This is a knob. This is the knob turning. And then if she wanted something, she would go like this. And I stopped like, answering to that. I was like, I need you to do something, a noise. Just try, please.
Right. Yeah.
And like that, she said her first complete sentence at 4 years old.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was like amazing. Like just seeing her do that, and she was trying so hard. It was like the most beautiful thing. I remember pulling over on the Pulaski Skyway because she said, I love you. And I was like crying. Oh my God, and you cannot pull over on the Pulaski.
You can't pull over?
No, not on the Pulaski.
My mom was like, you need to keep
Oh my God.
I was like, I know when I heard I love you.
Oh my God. That's so
and it was
I might try not to cry.
I know, me too.
Oh my God, no, I think I might cry. Hold on.
It's okay. It's okay.
And now I'm like working with a little girl, and she's actually nonverbal. She's 3 years old. She has not said mom yet. I got her to say dad already. We're 3 weeks in. She said dad. And I'm pushing so hard for mom because I know mom wants to hear it. I'm like, please. I got her to M. I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere at least. But I want that so bad for her. Like, just to hear her say mom.
Right.
Like, that's such a, like, you wait for that moment. She was telling me, she's like, you know, she said it like twice when she was like 1, and then we've never heard it again. So I'm like, I have to. Like, that's my goal now. We're gonna get her to say mom.
And that's one thing I feel like no one really talks about, or maybe they do, but like not to their family members, but to hear them say mom or dad or I love you, you never know when that can come.
Never.
So when it does come, you're just like
kids that have speech delay, that aren't on the spectrum, like that you're waiting just to hear something like a word.
Wow.
And I've seen now that I've had this experience, I've seen kids that don't have, their words and they can't speak. And like, that's so sad because you can see their frustration. Like this little girl, when I started with her, she would rip my skin off. Like it was so bad. I would come home in scratches every day. And I have my daughter does hit, but she won't hit that aggressively. Like that little girl was very aggressive with me. She was biting me too. She
couldn't express herself. Like
she couldn't express. She has not hit me in 4 weeks. She kisses me now. She hugs me. She calls me N. It's the most cutest thing. And she said for the first time, that's why I'm just so proud of her. Like for being nonverbal, she told me when I was leaving the other day, stay.
Oh my God.
Like, I love that.
And the mom was like, did she say stay? And I was like, yeah, I think she just told me to stay.
That's amazing.
I love that.
So I love this now that I'm doing this. This is like my favorite.
You know, I think it's amazing that you're a behavioral technician because we tried ABA for my son, and the first one, she wasn't bad, but she was very lazy. Like she wanted my son to be very stationary, and that's not
That's
him.
not him. Yeah.
Yes.
So we switched to someone else, and he just. You could tell he just did not care. He didn't either show up to work or show up to work late, and that would affect my son's
Like
behavior.
he was just there for a paycheck.
Exactly.
Like,
and
you
I'm
have to
just like,
truly love, especially this. You have to have patience because, like, imagine me if I went into this and this little girl bit me the way she did, and I could have just said, "Okay, I'm done," or I could have taken it out on her too.
Right.
It really takes like the right person.
And I think this was definitely meant for me because I love doing fulfilling things. Like working in the high-risk pregnancy, I created so many beautiful relationships there, and I'm forever thankful of that. You're gonna see my daughter in the back of me. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
it's
forever thankful of that. But like then when I was moving along, I was like, do I really want to continue as a medical assistant? Like something was just tugging me like in a different direction. And and then I was like, let me just put my resume out there and see what happens. Yeah. And they called me, and I've been in this field now.
It was meant to be for you.
Yep, it was meant to be.
That's what my mom said. She was like, this like all fell in place like perfectly for you.
Yeah.
So that's Sienna Rose. Sienna, you want to say hi?
Yeah, let's see her.
Say hi, Sienna. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello. You can wave. You can say hi.
Hi.
She's still in her little silk pajamas, living her best life.
Oh, she is so pretty. By the way,
Thank you so much.
She looks so much like you. It's crazy.
Oh my god, my aunts have started telling me that. I'm like, oh my god, thank you so much, because I really think she looks like her dad. Her hair is actually like touching the bottom of her waist, and it's really funny. She won't let me cut it because Rapunzel's hair has magic, and when you cut it, it's round, so we're not gonna cut it.
That's right.
Very long. I'm like, maybe the end something.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What has like your the support been like for you as far as like your family, your husband?
I have like an amazing village, like amazing.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
My brother's amazing. Like he has like the patience of the year. He's obsessed with her. His wife too. They're amazing with her. And then it's so cute to see like my mom, my brother, his wife with her, because they're all like trying to like understand her. They're all learning with her. My dad like had taken her to an arcade with my niece and my nephew, and that was a little loud for her. There's a lot of lights and then everything. So he was like, so I took her off to the corner. It was okay. I told her, it's just me and you. It's me and you here.
I love
when you're ready, we'll go in, okay? But when you're ready, I was like, you're so
That's so sweet.
That's so sweet.
Even my 4-year-old niece, like she is the cutest of all time. She tries to learn so much about Sienna.
That is amazing.
Why is Sienna
love that.
doing this? Why does she do that? And like she went to Target with her mom. She bought her a bunch of sensory toys. She's like, here, this is for you because I know you need that. Like,
oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
That is amazing.
That's
like
amazing.
Everyone is just on. Everyone is on board.
Which are her aunts. That they're my best friends in the whole wide world. They're amazing with her too. Like Sienna has an abundance of love. And her, like my poor aunt the other day too, I felt so bad for her. Her phone was like on loud, and Sienna jumped a little bit. And she was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I should have remembered to put it on vibrate. I was like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was like, it's fine. But just that, like, thank you for considering her.
Right.
I'm so I did have bad, like, situations with people where they weren't understanding of her situation. Where I had fallen friendships, unfortunately, because of it.
Wow.
Because it wasn't like, they weren't understanding, unfortunately.
And you had to cut ties with those people.
Yes. Like, it was like, there was a point when we didn't know when she was younger that she was probably maybe like 1 going on 2, and she would like to touch things. Like that was like her thing during that period of time, just touching things. And I had a friend who her house was kind of like a museum, I guess. Yeah. It was really pretty, but she didn't like when Sienna would touch things.
But she was a baby.
And
but she's also a kid.
We didn't know Sienna had anxiety disorder, so she would be like, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that. And I was like, oh my god, you're getting her more nervous.
I can't be friends with somebody like that.
You're getting her nervous.
No.
And Sienna, since she was very young, she goes off energy. Like, like you can go in a house, if she doesn't like it, we're coming back out. Like, she'll make you know, like, make sure you know that she's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I've always respected that. Because imagine, like, these poor kids, like, you don't want them anywhere where they're, like, not comfortable.
Yeah,
Right,
no.
There were times, like, I was selfish. I'm like, oh, but I want to stay and hang out. Like, this sucks. But you know what? This is, like, it took me a while, but I was like, this is a lifestyle change that I have to make.
Of course. And if this person doesn't understand that, then...
Yeah, I'm going to lose people along the way, but then I gained people, too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it. Like, there was definitely a silver lining. Like, I'm so thankful for the people that I have in my life now.
Oh, I'm so glad.
How about you? Do you feel like you have a good, like, village and a support system?
I think it took them a while to understand, like, okay, yeah, he's autistic, because at first I was like, I think he is. It's like, no, he's not. And I'm just like
in denial, right?
Yeah, almost like in denial. But I also think it's because, like, they didn't know. Now that it's medically diagnosed and we talk about it, like, this is what we're doing in school, this is what we're doing with outpatient therapy, or this, like, once I tell them the why, they're like, okay, I understand. So it's good. Like, he loves my parents, he loves his my husband's parents, he loves his uncle, he loves Kathy, he loves everybody. He's such an affectionate kid.
My daughter
he
so
loves
sweet.
the hugs, the kisses,
I feel
the
so
cuddles.
bad for her. Like, if you push her, she'll give you a hug. And I'm like, you can't hug people. And she's such a sweetheart. Like, she thinks, like, she can do nothing wrong. It's the cutest thing. And she just wants to give love to everybody. Like, she'll just do this randomly to people. I'm like,
that is so
he
sweet.
makes people's day in the street all the time. They're like, she is so beautiful. I'm like, but it's like, you really need that support system.
Yeah, you
but
do.
Even like her dad too, he was like, I guess you could call it denial, but it was like he was not on board, and it was like the whole time it was like, no, it's just like, can we wait? And I was like, okay, you know what? After a while, I was like, I'm just gonna stop pushing it until we get it on paper. And as soon as we got it on paper, ever since then, he's been like amazing with the whole situation.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
And he's gotten on board with it. But it was really, you know what? It could have been hard for him. Like, everybody has their own, like, experience with it. Like, I was kind of prepared. Like, I told you guys, maybe he wasn't. Like, he was still in that denial stage. Like, maybe it isn't this. Maybe something could change.
Yeah. Right.
But I explained to him, I was like, at the end of the day, like, she was always going to get here. Like, it could have been from this angle we were coming, or this angle. She was always going to, like, be autistic at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to blame, because he's like, oh, do you think if we would have done this differently? I was like, no.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like, of course you want answers, and you're like, how did this happen? Why did this happen to me?
Yeah. Where did I go wrong along the way? But then it's like, no.
But then you could
you
really,
can't
like, fall. Yeah, you could really, like, fall into this rabbit hole, and
or depression too.
Depression, that's tough.
That's horrible. Just thinking, like, oh, what did I do wrong?
Yeah, right.
So that's
and I'm
like,
sure
you just have to get on board and just, like, keep it moving. Like, do what you have to do for them.
And I'm sure there was, like, a small period that you guys went through that, right? Or and then you kind of just told yourselves, like, no, like, I have to keep going.
Like, that's it. You
keep it moving, like, for my child.
When I was filling out the paperwork for her, it kept saying, like, mental retardation, it was like every question was like mental retardation. And I remember I was sitting in the room crying, and I was like, I can't anymore. I was like, can you just take it? Because, like, I really can't.
Yeah.
Like, that's so hard to hear. But then, excuse me, you have to come to terms with those things. Like, unfortunately, that's the vocabulary that you're going to be using now.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to get comfortable with it. How is it? Is your son in school already? Like,
yeah, so he just started kindergarten this year. For the past 2 years, he was in preschool on an IEP and a self-contained classroom.
That's amazing. You've had all this, like, this whole time.
Yeah, I was not going to stop. Like, I was going to get the answers.
Amaris is not going in on Monday, and I'm going to be like, I need answers. What happened here?
Right. Like, I was not playing any games.
You were not.
Preschool came. He was on an IEP. I liked everything about the IEP. His teachers were great. Well, not last year's teacher. Last year's teacher, she, like, left, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But I think, like, it's both of us. The teachers left.
Yeah. Yeah.
My teacher left because she didn't have enough resources, so I feel bad for her.
Okay.
You know, I don't know why his teacher left. I think she went to a different school district.
That's so
But
frustrating for you that you don't know why she left.
Oh
America.
no,
Right.
I made sure to talk to the teacher. A bunch of moms were like, "We're gonna find her and get some answers why she left," and it was because she didn't have like the aids that she needed.
Wow.
But she
That
had
makes
4
sense,
kids on the
yeah.
spectrum.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, these teachers, they don't get enough support.
Yeah.
Like my
They
son
really
is in a
don't.
self-contained classroom and he has 2 aides in his classroom. But like still, like if you got to keep your eyes on like one of them because they mouth everything, they put things in their mouth that they shouldn't. Like you kind of need to have your constant contact. Or if they elope, then it's like, okay, we need someone on him. Or if they have any like aggressive behaviors that need constant redirection and redirecting, like you need an aid, but it's so hard for these teachers to get the support and the resources that they need.
Yeah.
Like even now, I was like so happy because like we ended the school year so good. I'm like on the same page that she was gonna get her aids and everything, and then this year starts, and I don't know what happened.
Damn.
Is she in a different school?
No. That's why I'm like so confused. I'm like, is it because like the teacher left and like she's not advocating for her anymore?
Right.
But this teacher seems to be on the same page as that teacher. So she was like, no, like we're gonna make sure she gets her aid. And she was like, there's an aide in my classroom already, but she's with somebody else. And it's not fair for Sienna to share an aide. Like, Sienna needs her own.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, of course, because these kids on the spectrum are all different. Like, how can that one aide be like for both of them? They're both learning differently. They're both, you know,
different needs.
on different levels right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, for sure.
Oh,
so I'm gonna go into the school.
Keep us posted too.
Yeah, keep us posted.
Yeah.
I definitely will. I'm so upset. I was like, oh my god, I was so happy.
Oh,
is she on an IEP?
Yeah, she was already on an IEP from last year, but it wasn't any. They didn't really do anything like too much, like try to change it because they were still waiting for her to be evaluated. So they didn't know exactly what she needed.
Oh,
so once she got diagnosed from the neurologist, they started their evaluation. That went all the way into the summer, actually, because they have 90 days to complete it. So we finished it in the summertime. And then they were like, okay, everything's in place. I still have, like, obviously all my paperwork and everything. So I was like, okay, so starting in this, you know, this school year coming up, we're all set? Yeah, we're all set. So I was like, maybe let's see it come Monday, too, because I know they're still getting, you know, everything set and situated.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she definitely needs her aid. Like, she can't be, like, for the next week by herself. And thank God my daughter's verbal, and I asked her right away, I'm like, do you have one teacher or two? She's like, one. I was like, okay. And then that's when I contacted her teacher. Because before it was so frustrating. When she was in daycare, I was like, oh my God, I want to know what happens, and we can't even ask her.
Right. I know.
Something happened.
Oh, you know
like,
about.
We would never know.
Oh, I know, girl. Real quick, we haven't said this on the podcast because we haven't done an update episode, but I had learned like 2 or 3 weeks ago that someone had made a complaint in my son's classroom that the substitute teacher was abusing the students, and this person named my son and described a situation that happened with my son. The investigator investigated, did what she had to do, came out unfounded. So I don't know, did someone actually slam my son's hands up against the door, or was it a lie? I have no idea.
That's so frustrating.
It's so upsetting and it's so frustrating. And like, I try to look back at times that when he did have the sub for like 60 days, how was his behavior? Like, his behavior was different. But like, I could understand like there was no structure, or maybe I wasn't giving him a snack after school for us to go straight into outpatient speech therapy. You start, your mind starts like
you're wondering about what it is.
It's like you're never gonna know.
I had to stop because there was never signs that he was abused. Like, he loved going in the school bus, loved going to school.
And then you don't want to take them out of their environment too, because you're like,
no,
they're used to it.
He loves it. He's thriving. Like, he comes home and he's saying more things. We're able to have like a conversation. Like, what do you want?
I mean, if you didn't see anything on him, and he's coming home happy.
He was.
Because you know, kids, they'll show you definitely like with their body language. if something's bothering them for sure.
Yeah. Right. But then my husband points out, like, but Thane's the type of person he can get hurt, brush off his shoulders, and like
get over it.
And get over it. So he's like, how do we know that? Like, I don't know if that's something we have to exactly. Yeah. So yeah, but I'm just having trust and faith.
I have my horror stories with daycares too. I've been there with all of them.
Oh, I'm sure. Because daycare, they're not equipped to handle kids.
Even like now though with school, I asked them too. I was like, with the aides, like, are they specialized for kids like on the spectrum?
Right.
Right.
And they did say, again, now I'm actually questioning if anything they said is true, but they said they do have one aide at least in each school like specialized for a kid on the spectrum. But it's like, you have one. You're just one. It's not for sure. I don't know how many they have in my daughter's school. I haven't asked them. But they said at least one. But imagine if she had 4 kids on the spectrum in one class last year. With 2 aides that were only Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
It was very weird. I was like, this made no sense. And I think that's why the teacher left. Like, it was too much for her.
Yeah,
when I would see her come out, she was like so distressed. Sometimes she would even come out crying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh my God. So she did, like, the other kids that were on the spectrum, there was one, I think, that was like a little violent. There was one that wouldn't sit down. So imagine, like, you're one teacher trying to do all this.
Right.
And maybe she was trying to voice, like, I need more help, and they weren't.
And they weren't giving it to her,
No, everybody should definitely have, like, training. I think even regular teachers should have training for these kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't know how to deal with them. There's kids that don't like to be touched. Or how about, like, the way, like I told you, the way I gotten bitten and hit by this little girl, like, anybody else that doesn't, like, have the training, like, you would want to go like that to her.
Yeah.
Because it just happens so quick, and you're like, oh my God. Yeah. So everyone should have that training.
Yeah, I totally agree.
100%.
Oh man,
that should be like a workshop in schools. I feel
it should. Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
They have teacher conventions. Like, take a class.
Yeah, like that should be definitely one.
Especially because I was gonna say, like, more and more kids are coming out on the spectrum. So many kids now. So it's important.
Like, when we went to the pool this summer, I was just like, what is happening? It was like a whole flock of like kids. I'm like, how is this like keep happening? So many kids are on the spectrum. But I did hear also the umbrella is like larger.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah,
it's a whole spectrum now.
Yeah,
it's a whole spectrum.
Yeah,
that everybody can, like, anybody and everybody can fall under.
Yeah.
What do you do with your son, like, to keep him, like, try to like tire him out?
Girl, what do I do?
She has to take a deep breath for that one.
You don't see this one? She was bouncing over
here. He would bounce around, and I'll stop him and be like, oh, catch this ball. Oh, let's roll. Oh, freeze, stop. Like, I just try to make a game out of it before bedtime. I mean, my husband's getting them ready for bedtime, so you might hear some banging. But upstairs is a nice running area. We have, like, the nugget couch. We have, like, this wooden obstacle thing. So we just try to get him to, like, oh my gosh, everyone loves coming over to my house because they're like, your house is such kid friendly. It looks like a daycare. You have all these
my daughter's room looks like the daycare, but I want to make the outside the daycare.
Right. So we just tire him out, and then bedtime, he's never upset that it's bedtime. We're like, all right, lights off, and he's just in bed, and he scripts a lot. So he's a Gestalt language processor. Like, that's how he learns to, like, speak. So he's just scripting a bunch of stuff that he's heard throughout the day or on his tablet.
He'll just, like, blurt it out, right?
Or, yeah, he'll be like,
little, like, phrases, like catchphrases.
Yes. He'll be like, Peppa Pig. Oh no, Daddy Pig. And
that is so cute.
It's so cute. And I'll be like, and then he'll be like, good night, Mom. Good night, Dad. Oh, look, Cirilla's crying. I was like, yeah, she's crying because you pushed her. Say you're sorry. He's like, sorry, Cirilla. And she's like, hey, push me. I'm like, I know. He said sorry. It's okay.
That's like, so my daughter. She practices, like, conversations in the mirror, and they're so funny.
It's cute. Yeah,
it is so
like,
sweet.
she'll be talking to her, like, little cousin. She's like, no, you cannot have my tablet today. I'm like, what are you doing?
It is so cute.
But it's so cute because she copies everything you say. Like, she sounds just like me when she talks, because she literally is trying to, like, make up a conversation, so she just says whatever I say.
Yeah.
So it's literally, I
can
have
just
a
imagine.
in the house.
Yeah.
But it's so cute, the things that she says. Like, now she's always like,
adorable.
ay, Dios mío. And I'm like...
I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, Fane's gonna sound like he's British because he loves Peppa Pig right now. Like, that's his thing. So he'll be like, what's your name? And I'm like,
that is so funny.
My name is Mommy. Thank you. What's your name? And he'll be like, no.
I didn't know that he does it with the accent.
Yeah,
he so does. Funny.
What's
oh my God,
it's so
I think every
cute.
kid loves Peppa Pig.
Yeah,
my daughter my son hated it. He hated it at first.
It yet.
Oh my God, sometimes
she
it's
has
cute.
a little bit of an attitude problem.
She does, and I swear that's where Simona gets it.
That one episode when she clicks on her friend, that was an attitude.
Yeah, Peppa.
I haven't introduced it yet because Amaris was like, don't even.
Do Bluey. Do Bluey.
I did put it on the other day, and he was watching it.
And then I swore up and down that Sienna was never going to see YouTube. I'm like, how would she know? Like, she would never know what that is. How would she know?
Yeah.
Attached to YouTube.
Yeah.
That's all she does.
YouTube.
But you know what? That actually teaches her how to talk.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? It's fine. There's some things she can't say. Like, she told me I was a pain in the ass the other day. I was like, no. I was like, that was very good. But...
Yeah. But we don't say that.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, where did she get this from? I'm like, YouTube. And I was like, no, I said that to the dog. It was me.
Oh, that's funny. Like, wait a minute.
And then she's always to the dog. She's like, you look just like your dad. Because I say that to her. And I'm like, and I was like, that's also good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, like the things that they pick up, especially with my son being a GLP. It's just cute. So like if he was watching Mickey Mouse for like the longest time, and at the end he's Mickey Mouse was like, thanks for coming, guys. And so then he'll like say that. So when he leaves, I'm like, oh, thanks for coming. Have a good day. So now he'll start saying like, thanks for coming, guys.
And look,
that's so sweet.
Now he knows how to say that at least. But look, they learn things like this. And I was so repetitive with her too. Like even with this little girl now that I have, I will say like the same word 18 times. Yeah. And so I hear her say it.
Yeah.
And I was telling my friend, she's like, really? That's what you do? And then I was like, yeah, try that for your son. I'm like, you have to literally be so annoying. Yeah. Like, you're going to get annoying to yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to hear her talk.
Right. And one thing I was told to do, like talk in first person, like, oh, Fane, do you want a banana? He's like, a banana. I'm like, oh, okay. I want a banana. Yes, Mom, I want a banana. And then little by little, he's literally making
that's how those sentences. I'm like, these parents probably want to like punch me in the face because I sing everything. I make everything a musical for her too.
Yeah,
right. And look, she's saying so many like new words now. I'm like, but that's because like she hears me singing it. And like and then what she does to it's so beautiful. She holds my mouth to get the vibration to see how to say it. I'm like, how do you know that? Like that is so
smart.
She's so smart. She loves anything and everything educational.
That's
like
good.
I love that so much about her.
Good.
That's
so cute. But Mom and Dad are Spanish and they're only Spanish speaking, so they don't have like the full education like on autism. Like the dad calls me the babysitter. I'm like, I'm not the babysitter. Thank you so much.
Oh man,
it's not what I'm here. But I understand like he doesn't get it. Like for what he's seeing, I'm playing with his daughter the whole day.
Right.
I'm like, I get it. Like that makes sense.
Right.
Like what you're seeing. But I'm like, no, I'm not the babysitter. But but I wish they were more like on board too. Like I want them to be able to do what I do for her because once I leave, like you can't just depend on me.
Right. Yeah.
You have to continue it at home.
Like I didn't even notice when we were doing her evaluation, like Mom wasn't really following directions during the whole time. So then I was telling my supervisor, oh, can I do the evaluation with her instead of Mom? And she was like, no, because when you leave, Mom needs to be able to talk to her.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's very true.
Yeah.
And she has to listen to Mom.
Yeah.
I was like, I get that. But you definitely have to be on board. like, and on
You
the same
too.
page.
It just
I'm
makes
starting
things
to
like
build like
easier.
a relationship with them now, so I'm hoping like
That's
once
good.
I get a little bit more comfortable, maybe I can be like, oh look, like educate them a little more. Why don't you do this
Yeah.
with her?
You'll get
So
there.
hopefully, yeah, like I
Yeah.
saw mom is starting to try, like when she hits her, before she
Yeah.
would give her a cookie when she would hit her. I'm like, we're not doing that because you're just basically
Yeah.
just saying, thank you for hitting me. Here's the cookie. So
Right.
now, like when she
Yeah.
hits her, I see she's like, she does like a little cute thing. I've never even taught her that. She tells her, give me a kiss, and then she rubs her arms and she'll stop.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, look. So I was like, she's picking up something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Progress.
And it's only been like a
Yeah.
few weeks, you said, right? 3.
Yeah, we've
how
only
long
been together for like 4 weeks. She was
That's
with somebody
amazing.
before, but my supervisor said like it wasn't the best relationship. She's
Yeah.
like, you
Yeah.
guys like paired really well together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
That's
because like I
amazing.
make everything a fun game. Like when she's
Yeah.
stimming
Right.
and like she doesn't want to get up for me, like, you know, I could be like, oh God, here we go. Come
Right.
on, like get up. But I'm like, and we're gonna try and we're gonna do one. And then like I'll throw her back down like that. Cause I'm like, that's what they need. Like, you can't get in their face telling them like, wrong. No, you're not doing this.
Right.
That's not how you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to like navigate herself. Like, how do I talk to Nat?
Right.
Right.
How do I navigate the world? How do I say I don't want
And she
this?
tries so hard. Like, if you see her little face, like she just tries so hard to say words. She'll be like this, like go ahead, you can do it.
Wow.
That's so cute.
But I know she's gonna get like full sentences soon.
That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Like I can hear it already. She said please. She's saying thank you. So hopefully.
No.
And I hope like I want to stay with her too. I don't think I want to like.
I hope you guys continue
They
on
asked
together.
me to move on, but I'm like, I don't want to move on. I love her.
Aww.
I was like, she didn't do anything to me. Like, I don't want to leave her. And I feel bad too. Like, don't they need like consistency? Like,
They
for
do.
them to bring in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, she's doing so good too. I don't want to ruin
She feels comfortable with you.
Yeah, like she's very comfortable with me already. Like, I'm no longer doing one of these. Before, when she would pass me, I would be like, no, please. Now I know she's coming in for a hug. And I taught her that too. I'm like, I want to hug you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, instead of hands are not for hitting, they're for hugging.
Yeah.
Like that, I love it.
I had a random thought, and this I don't want to come off as like ignorant.
No, go on.
So doing what you do, and you know you're a mom, like do you ever find yourself feeling overstimulated at all, like yourself? Yeah,
I'm very overstimulated.
Okay.
Like for sure, 100%. I actually,
because you're doing this all day, like
literally all day.
Home,
I'm doing Sienna.
So I was curious about that.
This little girl, I only do for 2 hours a day.
Okay.
So that's not horrible. But again, like you said, Sienna's not getting 2 hours a day. Sienna, I'm doing it all day.
Right.
I'm doing ABA therapy the whole time that she's with me. Like anything I can incorporate for her, we're going to do therapy. So it is a lot. Like I find myself sometimes very overwhelmed.
Like
I'm trying to look for like, I don't want to do meditation. Like maybe like yoga, but I don't know.
Yoga's great.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm like I'm catching myself getting like panic attacks, the anxiety too.
Because you're burnt. You're feeling burnt out.
Yeah,
probably, right?
And I'm like, but I want to give so much of me, but I know like
you have
and
to.
I always do this though. I give way too much, and then like I'm all burnt out.
You don't think of.
I definitely have to work on that for sure.
Same.
I think we all got to work on that.
Yes. I can keep going. Somebody calls me. I'm like, yes, I am there. I got it. I am learning to use no more. No is a full sentence.
Yep.
Period. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I can't be everywhere and do everything now.
Right.
Girl.
Yeah.
I understand.
It's hard. I get overstimulated myself, and you know, I just have one child, Grayson, and there are times that my husband will be like, go take a break, like go take a break. And then I won't, because I'm like, no, but like I'll miss him, or like I don't want to miss out, or exactly.
So you're like, oh no, you know what? I can use this time to go clean the kitchen.
Yeah. Or like, go fold the laundry.
Yeah.
Like, that's not really taking time for yourself.
I would do that all the time. When Sienna was a newborn, while I was going through my postpartum, my mom would be like, okay, can you go take a nap? I'm like, no, I just feel like I need to do this and that.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a
There's
mom
always
thing,
something
I feel.
to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you can never sit down.
No.
I feel so bad. I'm like so rude. When I have like people over, I'm always cleaning. I'm like, I hope you guys know I'm not kicking you out. This is not like the cue. It's just, that's my thing. Like I always need to be doing something.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me like to sit down.
No, it's hard for me too. Like Blue's been trying to get me. We just started watching a show on Hulu. What's the show called? The Mormon Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Something
like a dumb reality show.
I saw that this like girl that I follow was watching that too.
So I started watching it, but it's like I'm doing stuff in the background. My husband's like, "Can you sit down and enjoy the show? Like sit down with me on the couch." I'm like, "No, I don't know how you can do that." Like,
I'm so annoying. Like we'll be on the bed and I'm like trying to grab things like to fold.
Yeah, it's definitely a mom thing for sure.
It is for sure.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. So closing thoughts. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Yeah.
Let me think. That's a good question. No, I just really hope that like if there is another mom out there that's going through this journey, like no, you're not alone. There's so many moms doing this. And also, you know, just remember like to have your strength, give yourself grace at all times. Because I feel that moms do not give themselves grace at all.
No, we don't.
And breaks are very important. Yeah. Even if you go out for like a walk, even to your bathroom, to just take a breather. Something, but it's needed.
Yeah.
Like to keep on for the day, like you need that like at least a 10-minute reset and then go back out.
Yeah.
For sure. But that's it. Oh, also too, I don't know if you guys saw my post. I'm gonna start babysitting kids on the spectrum.
I saw that. That's amazing.
Because again, like my friend, like she has her village as well, and I help her too. But I've seen, you know, what she goes through, and it's not hard finding someone you trust or that can deal with your kid at that.
Right.
So I was like, you know, even if you need it for like just to go run an errand or a fresh air or date night, something like I wanted to help parents with that.
That's amazing.
That's what I'm doing
now. Just add more to the plate, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying I'm overstimulated, but I'm just
Oh my god.
Where are these hours that I'm gonna find in the day? Who knows? I'm gonna get it done. I feel like I hit the floor running and I'm just not stopping.
Yeah. Well, that just shows how passionate you are about, you know?
Well, for sure.
We need more people like you in this world. I think this world would be a better place if we had more people that care to understand, want to understand, you know, and just truly, truly just want to be there for like parents.
Thank you.
You know?
Thank you so much. You both are amazing moms though too.
Oh, thank you. Where can our listeners like find more information or support?
So on my Instagram, I'm hi, I'm Natalie. That's with 3 E's and 3 I's, I believe.
You're like, okay. We'll make sure to put it in like
we can
our
link
bio.
my Instagram.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll link my Instagram because that's way too difficult. Now I know I should probably change my handle. That was a sign. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I told you, Natalie, that we would love to keep you on the podcast, like little updates.
I would love to do that. Yes,
definitely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just to kind of see where you're at, you know, in your
journey. Oh my god, no, yes, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good.
This was amazing. Thank you again so much.
Of course.
Thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Let us know what you thought about this episode. As you know, Natalie will be coming on in future episodes to give us an update with her daughter. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow Natalie. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. And we'll see you next week. Bye.